Hi, all. Welcome to my live. Usually I go live from my computer, but for some reason I'm having issues. So I'm going to chat with you while I get the setup ready because I didn't want to delay any longer. So thank you for joining me today. And this is just an example of thinking on your feet, I guess, because there will always be technical difficulties, I feel like, when you do things like this. But I am excited today to kind of launch a new segment called Ask Anjali. And the point of this segment was really because I get ongoing questions. Sorry, I'm trying to set up my phone since I'm doing it on my phone instead of my computer. I get ongoing questions often about, little things related to people's business, and I thought it might be helpful to try to answer some of those questions for you specific to your business. And as I mentioned in the, I'm going to try this way, sorry. This is okay. As I mentioned in my post in the Mompreneur Tribe and also in my newsletter, okay, that doesn't work, does it? Sorry, guys. My computer usually do this on, so I'm kind of testing with you. I was a little bit nervous about creating this segment because I wasn't sure if anyone would tune in live. So often when I do lives, I could be on my own for a while, and then people will slowly join. But if no one tuned into the live, I was nervous of what I was actually going to talk about. But I forced myself to do it anyway. And I see there's a couple of you on there, so thank you for joining me. So today's segment is really all about you guys asking questions related to your business and or follow-up questions based on different lives and or blog posts that I have posted in the past. So with that, I will jump in. And one thing I'll say before is that I'm for a limited time offering, usually I offer coaching packages, like you have to do a certain number of months, but I am offering for a limited time 1-hour consults at a special rate. So if, after we have this conversation here, there is more that you want to learn offline or a different topic, feel free to reach out to me, and would be happy to set up a time with you to hash through some specific issue and or strategy that you might be dealing with. So I'm going to jump in. So Kate, you're on, I think. But Kate posted a couple questions in the tribe, which I thought were awesome and are a great way to start. So I will answer those first, and then would love for you guys to chime in with your questions. Just type them in the comments, and I will get to them one by one because I did have a couple that came in as well, and I'll kind of get to them as we go. So first of all, Kate's question was, she had a couple questions around social media. So specifically, first of all, she was asking, how often do you post to social media channels? And I think I get this question often, and I think the first answer would be you post as often as you can be consistent. So I think you first have to set a goal of what you think is realistic in your mind, given your social media acumen and also your time and where you are in your business. So let's say it's you set the goal of putting something out there once a day. You want to try to stick to that as much as you can. I think it depends on how many channels you have going at one time. But I would say that if you are, let's say, in a couple different channels, your goal should try to be to post at least every couple days so that you stay top of mind. But when you are posting on social media, you want to keep in mind that the number one thing that you should focus on is providing value to your audience. So you don't want to just be out there to be out there. You want to make sure you're thoughtful and mindful in what you're actually posting. So again, when you're figuring out how often you should be posting, the number one question should be what's realistic for you to remain consistent, and then also what's realistic in order for you to continue to provide value to your audience. So I would say at a minimum every couple days, if possible, daily, just so that you remain, again, top of mind with your prospects and or your viewing audience. So that was the first question. Then she asked about which channels she should consider being in. So I think the channel question is a good one because you cannot be everywhere for everyone. So I think it's very unrealistic, especially when you're starting off, to try to tackle too many channels at once. There's just no way to keep it going. So I think it's great to pick, let's say, starting at two that are relevant to your business and focusing on those and mastering those. And then you're able to kind of leverage some of the things that you're posting in one channel into other channels. So I think, Kate, for what you do, because you target moms, I believe, right? I think that Facebook and Instagram are great channels for you to start off with. You also want to think about the kind of content that you're going to be posting in these channels, and that's going to also dictate which channels you're in. So if you can come up with good graphics and or visual content, Instagram is amazing, as is Pinterest. If it's going to be more articles and text, then Facebook is a good option. Ideally, if you can, you want to be at least on both, and then you can always kind of start investigating other channels afterwards. And then her last question was, Facebook strategy, is it different than Instagram strategy? And I do think you can reuse some of the stuff that you put on one versus the other, but you'll still want to you want to manipulate it in a different way. So, you might have the exact same content for Instagram that you do for Facebook, but you might want to have a visual graphic that represents it as opposed to the text, which is what you would put on Facebook. So you don't want to have to reinvent the wheel too much, but you do want to be appropriate for the channel that you're in. So hopefully that answered your questions, Kate. Let me know if not. Happy again to deep dive further if you wanted to email me. Okay, so I'm going to move on now to, and again, just type your comments in. This is an experiment, so I'm willing to work with you here on it. Okay, so Julie's question, on a small budget, read equal no budget. Believe me, I know, I've been there. Is it better to focus on a print campaign magazine versus bloggers, micro-influencers? Okay. Well, if you are on a no budget, it's going to be hard for you to do either of those things. Impossible for you to do a print campaign. And even working with bloggers, micro-influencers is going to be tough. But if you're on a limited budget, I would say that I would absolutely pick working with influencers and bloggers over print campaign. I kind of feel like media in those traditional channels of print and even kind of TV, not that any of us are at that level, is kind of dying. So I would, if I were you, I would focus your dollars, and print is really expensive. So I believe you mean like magazine ads as opposed to postcards, because postcards, direct mail, can work, but again, that is a very, very costly strategy. So you have to have enough of a budget and a very targeted audience to make direct mail worth it. So I would absolutely pick, in your scenario, Julie, bloggers and micro influencers over anything print related. And with what you do, because I think again you target moms and new moms, I think it's great to find those bloggers out there that are focused on that market. And what's great about it is they have a captive audience who listens to them, who trusts them in their suggestions, and who are going to, because they've built this relationship with these people on Instagram or through their blog, are going to take their recommendations. So you're able to hit a niche audience who is kind of willing and able and wants to listen and wants to take feedback from this influencer. So that would be my thought. So she is writing, I have an opportunity to advertise in a magazine that is a stretch but affordable. I think it kind of depends on what the magazine is, but again, just think about yourself. Like, I don't know how much you are on social media, but when you're flipping through a magazine, how much are you really paying attention to the ads that are in the magazine? Like, is that going to be what would make you jump to then go purchase a product? Probably not. But if you are on Instagram often, I know I follow people and I am obsessed with what they wear, where they are, and I take that into account and I listen, and I a lot of times will take their suggestions. So you could get a lot more bang for your buck, I think, working with influencers or bloggers than on the print route. I'm just going to pause because I want to make sure. I think people might have tried to join the tribe, and I just wanted to get anybody else in. So does that answer your question, Julie? You can post in here any follow-ups. and I think, again, do the math. So I think you always want to focus on your ROI or return on investment for any marketing that you do. And I think particularly when you're starting off, it's really important to keep the cost as low as possible. So you want to be very creative in how you're spending your dollars. So you want to make those dollars stretch as long as you can. So doing things like social media, working with bloggers, things that are on the lower end of cost, but still have a wide audience, are going to be the most beneficial for you. Anything else on that? And I love the idea of working with bloggers and influencers, particularly if you're trying to hit a mom market or a business owner market, somewhere where those people follow blogs or are on Instagram. But those of you who are tuning in, you are taking my advice for what it is worth, right? So likely, if I were to throw out a resource or a tool that I thought was very interesting or helpful, you might be more apt to go out and purchase it and or sign up for it, as opposed to seeing kind of an ad in a magazine and not knowing anything else. Okay, so that's my 2 cents on micro-influencers and bloggers, and I think just be really smart in who you want to work with. It's not even always about the numbers. Oftentimes with bloggers, it's more about are they hitting your niche audience? You'd rather have a niche targeted audience that's smaller when you're working with a blogger than having a huge audience that's kind of just wide and not as specific. So if you want, email me, Julie, because I feel like I maybe suggested this for you, but there is somebody that I am friendly with on Instagram who I feel like would be a perfect blogger for you. So you can email me and I can let you know who that is. Okay, so anyone else out there have questions? I have a couple others that have come in, but I thought I would ask or just continue to post in here if you're watching and have a question that you want answered. And really the goal of this is for it to be specific to your business, right? So a lot of what I give are general tips, but are there burning questions you have that you're just trying to figure out? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about another question that came in, and that was, I feel like, Julie, you might have posted this a long time ago, and somebody else emailed in as well, but tomorrow I have a meetup in Bethesda for anyone that's local, and I'm excited because Laura Evans, formerly of Fox 5, is coming in to talk about pitching your business to the media, and I know I had a couple of people who were far away state that they would love some more tips on that. So maybe that'll be a future Facebook Live if you're there yet. And even if you're not there, what I've been saying to local people is, even if you're not ready to pitch your business, let's say to TV or to magazines yet, going through the exercise is still a great way for you to start to develop, again, a pitch and content that you can then leverage in other channels. So it's just a great way to start to think about marketing your business, even if you're not ready for media yet. So for PR for your business, that's a whole huge topic. But the 1 or 2 tips I'll give you, just if you're thinking about it in the immediate case, is really thinking about what is relevant and newsworthy in the moment, because that's really what all of these networks and or media channels want to think about. So thinking about timely holidays, movies, books that are out, whatever is happening in the news, and figuring out how to tie your business to it. That's how you can then kind of wrap up a nice segment that you would then pitch to like a TV station. So I'll give you a couple of examples. For me, in the past, when I've done TV segments, I've always thought about whatever holiday is coming up and figured out tips for moms based on that holiday. So, I've done, and you could see on my YouTube channel, like Thanksgiving themed arts and crafts, Super Bowl themed arts and crafts, holiday, I've done kind of everything. And just because that's the low hanging fruit and that's easy. So is there a way that you can couple what you're doing with whatever holiday is going on in the moment? Or if there is new news around immunizations or I don't know, labor or listeria or like whatever it is that's going on, is there a way for you to tie that whatever is going on in the news with your business? And that's how you can then start to form what a segment idea would be that you could pitch to a network. Or if you're not ready to do the media thing, that still could give you really great ideas on blog posts, because a lot of times people suffer with not suffer, but struggle with what should I be blogging about? What should I be doing video or Facebook Lives about? So that's just another way to think about content. You would do the same thing that you would do for a PR pitch, thinking about newsworthy topics, things that are going on, and how you can relate your business and or create tips for your target audience. It's my 2 cents on PR, the very easy, and maybe a future Facebook Live, I'll have somebody come on and we can do a deep dive on that. But hopefully that gives you guys some tips. Anyone else want to chime in with questions? I have 1 or 2 other here, so I'll just keep going with those. So one person had emailed me saying that, they had saw all my stuff on my coaching, and, they were asking how and why business coaches can work. So I wanted to just throw that out and kind of say, first of all, I work with a coach, so I feel like even people who coach work with coaches. And I think really the benefit is that oftentimes we work in a vacuum or a silo, like we do things and we think we're going in a right direction, but we don't have a third party out there that can kind of validate, to bounce ideas off of, or to tell us that maybe we are going in the wrong direction or speaking in the wrong language. And that's, I think, where it can really be helpful to work with a business coach. And I think there's different kinds of coaches, like there's life coaches. They may be more motivational and more holistic. For me personally, what I'm trying to do is much more specific on your strategy and or marketing of your business. And so, I've been helping my clients with pricing, coming up with packages, creating a sales funnel. So not giving everything away at once, but kind of figuring out a way to create packages in a funnel that you're able to then upsell and keep a client longer. So those are kind of some ways I've worked. And, when I've worked with my coach, it's been on prioritizing, figuring out what I want to be selling and or offering and how to do it effectively. Is my pricing right? And what is the best way for me to manage my time, because I have all these ideas of what I want to do, and figuring out which ones I should be doing. So that is to answer the question of whoever emailed me about how people can benefit. And I think sometimes you can benefit with one-off sessions, which I've done, or sometimes you can benefit with a little more hand-holding in a longer term to get you either to that next level or to get your business launched and or where it wants to be, or where you want it to be. Okay, so that's that question. I have one more here, unless anybody else has any questions that they want to chime in. This is your chance to ask me anything about your business specifically. And I want to hear afterwards if people found this segment helpful, because I thought it was kind of cool just to be more specific and kind of talk about whatever it is you want me to talk about. But oftentimes I'm just staring at a phone and I'm not quite sure. So I would love to hear from you if you found it valuable. Okay, so the last thing, and I just touched on this with, this is something I've worked on with my coach, but I think time management is always an issue for mompreneurs particularly. And again, I'm trying to find somebody who I can bring on to do a whole half-hour live on time management. But I will give you my 2 cents in this arena as well. I think that I am all about scheduling every hour of my day, and particularly I'm managing a couple different businesses, so devoting time to whatever duty I'm trying to get done or whatever business I want to focus on, and literally putting it in my calendar and my phone. That includes going to the gym for that 12:15 workout class. So I think scheduling is huge. I think doing an informal or more formal audit at the end of your week to figure out where your time has been spent and whether it was the best use of your time. So I know I've gone through this exercise with one of my clients, but you want to think about how much time you're devoting to your business and certain services and certain duties that you're doing. And you want to think about your revenue to figure out if where you are focusing your time and how much time you're delivering is equivalent and or worth the revenue that exercise is bringing in. So you always want to be mindful of that. And when it comes to your family and balance, I definitely do not have those answers, but I think treating almost your kids and your household like one of those jobs or duties, and scheduling, if you need to do that just in the beginning when you're getting off the ground to try to figure out how to balance it all, it's not a bad exercise to do. And I think
trying to do away from the mom guilt, because we're all struggling. Everyone's trying to make ends meet. So letting go of some of that guilt is really liberating as well. So that's my soapbox on work-life balance and time management. I'm going to hang out here for like a minute or two more to see if anybody has any other questions for me. I'm happy to answer them. If you're watching this post live, drop a comment in the comment box and I will answer it afterwards. And I would also love to hear from you if this was helpful, and if I'd started to introduce this once a month, if it would be something that's of interest to people. So you can let me know in the comments or offline as well. And also let me know if there's any other burning topics. I try to address them when you let me know. So just give me some ideas of future Facebook Lives. Okay, I'll hang out here for like 30 more seconds if anyone has any other questions. Otherwise, I hope to see you next week at 2:30, I think. And also stay active in the tribe. I think we've had a lot of great communication and resource sharing, and I hope we can keep it up. Okay, guys, have a great afternoon, and I will see you next week.